Hey, what's going on, y'all? I figured today was as good of a day as any to kind of dive into this topic, and I know everybody's covered it, and I know we've heard about it so much, and it's kind of all that anybody has talked about in bass fishing. Uh, Seems like since the season started, but I'm gonna get into it anyways. I'm not gonna say I have a unique perspective on the forward-facing sonar deal, um, but it's my viewpoint on it. It may resonate. It may make some sense. And kind of I want to stay away from the cut and dry. Is it right or is it wrong? You know, is it fair? Is it not? Is it actually fishing? Is it not? I'm gonna stay away from all that, and I'm gonna dive into something that may shed a little light on it. In answering those big questions, but in a different way. So follow me here for a second. What I want to talk about is one thing that's interesting about it is why does it seem to really, really, you know, resonate with the younger anglers. Yeah, I mean, you've seen the results of the first two elite tournaments. That's insane. That is that a guy has been fishing for that small amount of time and has been able to accomplish that. Um, and why? I'm kind of at that age where I'm too old to be a young guy and I'm too young to be an old guy. Kind of caught in the middle, if you will. And I think a lot of anglers are around my age group, that late 30s, early 40s, maybe into the 50s, that have spent an appreciable amount of time fishing without that tech. I've spent my entire life fishing without it. But the reason I think those guys, I don't, it's not that an angler in their late 30s and early 40s doesn't have the cognitive capacity to excel with that technique. It's not that they don't understand what is on that screen, and it's not that they don't understand how to utilize it. I really think the reason you're seeing the youngest anglers really, really shine with that technique and catch insane limits and have this incredible performances is it's what they've known and there's no guilt. Okay, so what I mean by that is if you take an angler, a pro angler who's let's say he's been around for 15 years, been on tour for 10, 15 years, he sees this come out and he says, hey, I've got to do this to do my job. In order to compete, I have to use this. It doesn't matter how I feel about it. I've got to learn it and I've got to get good. My theory is this: no matter how much you know intellectually that this technique is what is going to win this event and it's what I need to do to compete, you can't lie to your heart about it, right? If there's a guy out there and he's staring at that screen all day and he's doing it, let's say he's making it work a little bit, if you don't feel good about what you're doing, if you're not into it, if it's not doing it for you, you're just not going to excel at it. It's no different than, say, 10 years ago, a guy thinks a tournament's going to be won on a spinnerbait. So he picks up a spinnerbait instead of the jig that he wanted to fish. But his heart's not in it. Yeah, he catches a few fish, maybe finishes them in the 30s. But the whole time he's thinking, man, I want to be fishing that jig. It's no different than that. If there's a guy that's on the forward facing deal and they know they need to do it and that is what's going to win, but if they can't genuinely feel like it's okay and like it's right, I don't think they're going to excel at it. And I don't think it's that old cliche. You can't lie to yourself like that, and you can't truly excel at something that you don't feel is right. And if guys have a moral disdain for it, if they feel it's not fair, if they feel it's not sporting, they're just probably not going to be good at it, no matter how loud that voice, no matter what your head tells you. And all the facts point to this is what you're going to have to do. And you're seeing the leaders doing it. And it's just not going to make that much of a difference. And I think the younger guys, now this isn't, they grew up in the times that they grew up in. If I started bass fishing when I was 15 and this tech came around when I was 16, and now here I am 4 years later, when I'm 20 and that's what I've been using, I genuinely think the younger anglers don't see they don't see a problem with it. They just don't. And that's why they're able to excel at it. And there's no question that it is an extremely powerful tool. And I think one of my favorite guys said it best on Live Mix. Hackney said, he spent 30 years or whatever it was studying the animal, and to watch that just be taken away, that's got to be gut wrenching for him. It's gut wrenching for me, and I'm not in it, right? I'm a local guy. I'm a kayak guy. I fish national tournaments, but my livelihood is not directly tied to that. I don't have that relationship with it that an actual professional guy would have. So yeah, I think no matter what they try to tell themselves, if their heart's not in it, if that middle-aged angler and that older angler, it's not a problem with learning to read the tech. It's a screen, it's a blob. You know what I mean? It can be learned. So that's my take on it. I know this is a little bit different from the videos that I put out, not a tournament recap or anything, but I'm excited about the channel. I'm going to try to keep try to keep some interesting content coming. And I'm not sure what direction it's going to take in the future, but I felt like I needed to do this video. I think it's kind of a unique viewpoint, and I'm anxious to see how this all plays out. This is, very interesting times that we live in. That's another thing that I heard on Live Mix when I was watching the Lake Fork tournament and seeing some of the guys on the later days who had been cut commenting on it. So anyway, y'all get in the comments. Let me know what you think about it. Why are the younger guys absolutely dominating with this technique when everybody in the field has it? But those guys, like I said, my theory is that they don't see any problem with it, and that's just what they came up in. All right, y'all have a good night. Thank you, guys.